Motorsport 411 presents
all the four- and two-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
Welcome to Motorsport 411, your home for all your four- and two-wheel action in Africa. Coming up in this episode, we'll have a roundup of last weekend's ARC Arusha Rally as we speak to podium finisher Hamza Anwar, and we'll get the latest motorsport news from across the border as we speak to former navigator and motorsport journalist in Uganda, Leon Ssenyange.
All the four- and two-wheeled action. Motorsport 411.
Welcome to the episode. So the ARC Arusha Rally was held last weekend, with Karan Patel once again winning. In second place was Leroy Gomez, and in third place, his first ever podium, was Hamza Anwar. In the point standings in the Africa Rally Championship, it's Leroy Gomez who leads with 102 points, followed by Karan Patel on 75 points. A level on 38 points each, it's Giancarlo Davite from Rwanda and Jeremy Wahome, while Hamza Anwar and Yasin Nasser are on 34 points each. So that means that Leroy Gomez is in the driving seat heading into the final two rounds, as he needs to finish on the podium twice. In fact, if he has two third places, he will seal the title, even if Karan Patel has two first places. I got to speak to Hamza, and I asked him how it felt getting his first ever podium finish.
It feels good. Actually, it's my first podium in any rally. I've tried really hard over the last few events and managed to bugger it up. But this one, I just held it together, and Adnan was guiding me well. And yeah, we managed to hold position.
A very impressive season so far. You seem to be settling into both the R3 and also your Evo X.
Yeah, somewhat we are.
Just tell us about the improvements. What have you been doing behind the scenes?
All right. To be honest, nothing much. Just been keeping ourselves, updated, always in communication with the co-driver. But no, we've just been trying to do as many events as we can just to get seat time and mileage. I think from last year we learned a lot, and this year we're just trying to implement everything that we learned, and where we made our mistakes, we're trying to make minimal mistakes, and we actually realize there's no need to actually keep your foot down as much as I used to. So, I mean the strategy paid off. We played a good strategy from the beginning, from the qualifying stage. We didn't take any risks, and then we had a lot of issues. We had a lot of punches towards the end of stages, and we had jack failure. We had the biggest problem was actually a rear diff that kept giving problems, I think because of the thick dust. So we're actually running on day 2, 5 stages out of 6 in front wheel drive. So it was actually like a rally R2 car with the turbo strapped on. So it was good fun though. We managed to hold position.
All right. There was an issue with fuel. I know you can't talk much about it. It's still under internal investigation within your team. How did that affect you?
It did affect us from the beginning because we did get onto our we started the stage on our time, but of course we were out of the holding late, so that ended us up in I think a minute and a half penalty from the beginning. And then because of the fuel calculations and little issues, we actually took it really easy in the morning, which lost us a lot of time. But maybe it was a blessing in disguise. We kind of preserved our cars on the first pass. I mean, this is rallying. There's always a lot of drama involved, and our actual strategy as a team for me and Adnan is to actually combat all the problems thrown to us and kind of help it to make us a stronger team.
Adnan Din, a very, very seasoned navigator. How key has he been to your success?
He's been very key. As you guys know, I've been really struggling with getting a committed co-driver and someone who I also gel well with. And no, it's he's been fantastic, and I think this rally has just been we've been on the just sitting on the podium for a few rallies now, but not really being successful. So I think now we've kind of got the right recipe, and together the synchronization between us is superb, and we thank God for it. And yeah, he's been amazing, because we are young blood. So, we do get hot-headed in the car. We always want to keep our foot down. But he's really guided me well in a calm and professional manner.
All right. Just going back to the Arusha Rally and that final stage, when you knew that you were going to be on the podium, how did it feel when Adnan was calling the notes?
Well, as for myself, I'm just being honest, I hate driving slowly. And I'm not used to it. So, the notes just didn't make sense to me half the time. So, there were some flat-out bits that were okay. But through the narrow sections where I really love making my time, it was just madness. I even knocked a little tree stump because of having a lack of focus, just driving slowly. Because this was my first rally using my left foot. I usually don't left foot brake, but this was my first rally. It seemed to be successful. But I think going slowly, I should just keep my right foot if I'm going to hold position. But it was good fun. I learned a lot. And rally by rally, we're all learning. And every experience, every little helps.
You were known for having a number of crashes earlier in your career. You seem to have matured as a driver. Some fantastic performances, including a top 10 time during the WRC Safari Rally. What's been the key to the success? There was also a fastest time during the ARC Rally as well here in Elementaita.
Yeah, certainly. We know we have the speed. We've shown our pace. So now it's just to prove that we can get the car home in one piece. So that's been my motive this whole year. I know I have the speed, but I've seen I don't actually have to drive on my 100%, so I just tone it a bit low. So when I do need it, I can actually bring it out. But no, so far so good. We've got to the end of this event. Unfortunately, WRC, we did have the same strategy and we did drive very well. But it was just unfortunate. This is rallying, this is motorsport. The engine died on us just a stage to the flying finish. So that was unfortunate, but this is motorsport. Things happen.
Your dad, a real key to your success. He's, almost at every event you're at. Asad Anwar, a very good friend of mine as well. He really has been instrumental in you rising up, also investing a lot in cars.
No, certainly. He's put out a platform for me, and he's actually groomed me from a very young age to actually take on motorsport. So I didn't actually start off with motorsport at a young age. I started when I was 17. So I actually had to fix up a buggy from the beginning, and then I worked my way up, moved into a front-wheel drive car, and then drove a bit of rear wheel in the classics. And then, eventually in 2020, I moved up to a Subaru, the GVB, which was actually my maiden rally in Arusha. From there on, it was upwards and onwards. So, certainly I think he's got the right recipe, because already within our second season of rallying, we're already we're already on the top. So, it's just now to kind of maintain it and kind of understand how to keep maintaining it.
You guys made the decision to buy Carl Tundo's Evo 10, the Evo X. Just tell us about that decision.
We decided to move to the Evo 10. It was a proven car. Carl's won many rallies with it, championships with it. And it was just an upgrade because I'm currently selling all my cars. So I'll be using the R4 for the next rallies coming up. And the R3 is a package for the Africa title, so we wanted something to keep up on the national titles.
Hamza, just tell us about the FIA Young Stars program.
Well, okay, the FIA Young Stars program is a program actually headed by Phineas Kimathi. And he's done an amazing job to bring 4 cars into play for young talent. And it's kind of a good platform. All the similar age drivers with different backgrounds of motorsport. One's a motocross driver, one's a track racer, one's a rally driver, one's an autocross driver like myself, and we'll all come like together as a team and heading out and really giving all the runners in the Africa Rally Championship a good run for their money.
The competition must be quite stiff internally because you've all got so much talent within that team.
No, certainly it's very stiff between us all. I mean, some drivers are very consistent and very tidy. Some drivers are very fast. Some drivers are experienced. It's a give and take between all the drivers. We're all kind of an equal playing field in terms of experience and exposure. And it's been incredible just with my teammates. We actually have a very friendly atmosphere out of the car, but once it's in the car, it's down to business. So, it's fantastic. So far, so good. We've really been enjoying ourselves.
Now, you're really fortunate in coming from a motorsports family. You've got Anwar, a former Safari Rally winner. You've got Asad Anwar, your father, who's a motorsports legend, no introduction needed. From your point of view, why do you love motorsport?
I love motorsport because it gives a sense of connectivity with others. But the main thing is, when I have my foot planted to the ground, and I'm having a good time, I have control of the car. For me, that's what I grew up liking and having fun, the sense of competition. But, once you're in the cars, you're in competition. Once you're out, it's kind of a friendly environment. So I've really enjoyed that. I've watched that growing up. And, certainly it's a blessing to be from a motorsport family. I get my consistency from my uncle, and I get my speed from my father. So having 2 of the best mentors for myself is just incredible. They've been a good help, and it's been amazing.
Just finally, the future. We know, of course, how the economy is in terms of how difficult it is, how expensive it is for motorsport. What does the future hold for you? Where do you see yourself, let's say, in 5 years' time?
Certainly, my goal is to win. I really do want to win. I want to conquer my map. So I want to conquer the Kenya National Rally Championship. And of course, I want to conquer the Africa Rally Championship. And then in the future, I would like to go to Europe and actually get to gauge myself against them after a little bit of experience, a few seasons. So far, I'd really love to get a drive with one of the Works WRC teams. That's always, of course, been a dream for everyone and anyone. For now, it seems unlikely. But you never know what the future holds. So, I just want to try and conquer my map, try and conquer everything I can. And then from there, hopefully I'll get some inspiration to grow.
That's rally driver and FIA Young Stars team member Hamza Anwar. We'll be back.
Motorsports 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
Welcome back. Now, it's been a busy couple of weeks on 4 and 2 wheels across the border in Uganda. I got to speak to motorsport journalist and former navigator Leon Ssenyange.
Well, sure, it's a pleasure being on the program, lovely stuff that you do in Nairobi, and for African motorsport at that. Uganda is definitely an exciting place. We've had competitions over the last few weeks, and they've fallen nothing short of exciting all through. Let me start back to a couple of months ago, the Pearl of Africa Rally, which was the African round of the championship, African Rally Championship round. exciting drives there, good performances. Just Mangat coming back to show everybody that he is the boss here. And yes, he won that one. We moved on to round 4. Now, round 4 was only a couple of days ago. The championship leader, Posiano Rakataka, there did not finish. He had an engine problem that took him out, and that, of course, meant his gap in the championship lead was only reduced to something less than 100 points. But the surprise winner for us was a young man, Omar Dauda, in Mitsubishi Evo 7. He's been driving quite well this whole season, and by the way things were going, you wouldn't really have put your money on him winning that event. But yes, good stuff for him there, winning his first ever rally, career rally. And of course, there were celebrations last Friday in one of the dance clubs around town. He cut cake, and all the drivers that took part in that event came and celebrated with him. A very good result it was. There were disappointments though. Ronald Sebuguzi debuting his Ford Proto, for the very first event, he wasn't able to complete that event. He still has this monkey on his back. It's one he has to take off. He hasn't finished a rally this year. The 3-time National Rally champion is definitely having a lot of work on his hands to ensure that he pulls something out of the bag and the big surprise. One of the drivers, though, that is getting everybody talking here is Mike Mukula Jr. Probably by the end of day 1 of NRC 4 here, he was leading. And there are two things. He drives in the Clubman Rally Championship, so they only do 50% of the national round event. So the debate was whether he should be able to continue and possibly win the rally, or settle for his 50%, lead the NRC title, and well, you see how it goes in the subsequent events. But thankfully, he's doing quite well, and he's one of the drivers that everybody has their eyes on. He's leading the CRC category. He's leading the overall sprint championship. He's also leading the autocross open class. So it's a very, very good year going for him. That briefly is what happened in NRC for a few weeks ago. But last weekend was the Tanzania Rally. We had 2 Ugandans competing there. That is Yasin Nasa and Ali Katumba, as well as Jas Mangat and Joseph Kamya calling the notes. Jas didn't take part in NRC 4 in Uganda, so he opted to go and do the ARC event in Tanzania. He had, I think, turbo issues that put him out. Yasin Nasa struggled through the rally there, but well, it's good to see that he was able to pick up a couple of points. So it's very good drivings for the Ugandan crews. So that's how it's been rolling. We have NRC 5 coming early in the first weekend of August. It is in the territory that Posiano Rakataka is known for, pulling all the sorts of speeds and winning. So he's probably is odds-on favorite to pick the 100 points from that particular event. But who knows? This is motorsport. It could go anybody's direction. So the championship is building up. Posiano Rakataka leads with 262 points. Omar Dauda, a surprise second place position there for him with 178 points. Then Jonas Kansime, he's only done 3 rounds of 4 so far. He's in 3rd place. Jas Mangat in 4th. The defending champion Yasin Nasa is further down in about 8th position. He's done only 1 event in the local rally championship here. He's opted for Tanzania. That's how things are going on in the 4 wheels for Uganda. In regard to matters 2-wheel, last weekend, Sunday, we had a fun ride. Many of the riders there preparing themselves for the African Motocross of African Nations Championship. It's one that Uganda has, was awarded to host previously, and because of the COVID-19 challenge, it was postponed twice. Now, August brings us that particular event. The Ugandan riders are gearing up for it. They really want to stamp the authority on the continent in that one. So the championships that have been happening, 5 rounds have actually been organized so far, and the selection for Team Uganda is based on the riders that are performing very, very well in these championships. And there are quite a couple of names. Let's start with the juniors. The MX50, you have Abigail Mwanguzi and Miguel Katende. They're neck and neck in their championship. Only 9 points separate them in the quest for the title this year. We have the ladies as well competing in the 50 MX, but going down to where the excitement is, the MX65. A young man called Miguel Katende. He had a very wonderful year in 2021. 2022 is just going as planned, but breathing down his neck is his younger brother, Jonathan Katende. So these two are the main riders that Uganda will be looking at to, put up a very good challenge for some of the riders from South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, even Kenya itself, that will be coming for the African Nations Motocross Championship. Further down in our list of riders, we have Milton Obote in the 125cc. He's really racked up 1, 2, 3s in the motocross rounds this year, so he leads the championship. Kilan Wekesa, he's done 3 rounds of MX this year and come top in all 3 out of 4. So definitely you probably want to have your money on that one to put up a challenge. Arthur Blake, the son of the record time national motocross champion, will be the captain for Uganda. He'll lead the charge for Uganda. He currently leads the MX1 category, and definitely he's picked up very, very fantastic results so far. He's won 4 rounds out of 5, and you could say he's actually already the national MX1 champion, having wrapped up 294 points. His second placed chaser is Abdul Damba, a whooping 192 points behind. So, Arthur Blake is already our national MX1 champion. He will be leading the charge for Uganda. Therein, of course, is one common name, one familiar name, Maxime Van P. He's come back to ride in the local motocross championship. He's done 1 race so far, but we expect that he'll be in the team for the national and African continent. So that's how it is going for Uganda. All eyes on how we shall be preparing for the MX round, the African Continental Championship, and boy oh boy, the fans here, the riders here, just can't wait to see the action at the Victoria Racetrack in Garuga.
Leon, you mentioned Arthur Blake, his father, of course, Arthur Blake Sr. He had quite a nasty fall a couple of races ago. How's his recovery?
Well, we were able to meet him, I think 2 weeks ago. He's really tried. He's picked up. He can have a very good conversation now. It definitely was. Sadly, it was a very, very nasty fall. I took him out for about 3 or 4 weeks. Broken ribs, a couple of broken bones here and there. But we're happy to say that he's been able to pick up. And the interactions from the family and friends is that indicate that he's doing well. He had time off to go and watch the safari, even regardless of the challenge and being under a bit of pain. So that tells much about how well he potentially is doing. I don't think we are going to see him coming back this year until he's given the full clean bill of health.
All right. Now, one thing we've noticed is the safety aspect of rallying and also motocross as well. There seems to be a lot of emphasis put on safety this year in Uganda. Absolutely.
And I think it stems from the fact that we've had several cautions or warnings from the FIA. The emphasis now on the gospel being preached is that we stand to lose some of these international engagements that we are handed by the international body. And it's not the thing we'd want to have as Ugandans. I believe, and probably it's subject to discussion, Uganda has the biggest motorsport crowd and most enthusiastic motorsport crowd on the continent, if not on the world. So it's very important that we keep safety as a top priority. And indeed, it's got to show in the national rounds that we've had from the beginning of the year. The Pearl of Africa Rally, there was lots of trainings. The officials from CAMS and the African Rally Championship were here. They emphasize issues of training. Everybody, it's all hands on deck at this point in time, where we believe that, safety is very important. And without a doubt, it's everybody's part to ensure that you're your brother's keeper, not to cross the line, not to cross the taped areas, to keep in safe zones, to have the safety precautions well in your mind. So these are the things that the federation here is pushing, and not just the federation alone. Everybody is part and parcel of the gospel around safety in motorsport.
All right. And African rallying really at a crossroads at the moment. We're seeing it across here in Kenya, where the entries are really, really low. Rallying booming in Uganda at the moment, but the technology now starting to age. The Mitsubishis, the Subarus, really now starting to fall out of favor. We're seeing here in Kenya, where it's virtually impossible unless your name is Flash Tundo to win, with a Mitsubishi Evo right now. Cars moving to R5s, the World Rally Championship moving to hybrid. What do you foresee in terms of motorsport in Uganda? We only saw one entry from Uganda, sadly, in the 2022 WRC Safari Rally, and that was in the Kenya National Rally Championship category. What do you see as the future? And that also means entries for 2023.
Well, I'll start with the experience at the Safari last year. Many Ugandan drivers were hit with a huge bill of participation in that particular event. I think it's one of the reasons why many of them stayed away. We only had one participant, Duncan Mubiru, and he went for what would be the less scrutinized option. That is the Kenya the NRC, the Kenyan National Rally Championship. But that goes without saying that the transition is actually existing here. Duncan Mubiru himself, our 2021 champion, transitioned into a Ford Proto. I think there's that need for speed, reliability, and of course the competition itself. Ronald Sebuguzi has followed suit. We have a word that a couple of other drivers are bringing in cars of that nature. On Sunday, the previous Sunday, there was a fundraising sprint for one of the young drivers, Dusty Buchenya Yusuf. He wants to, follow the same path. I still think we are still far behind as one Uganda in terms of the transition towards those kind of cars. But even still, it's about the money. It's about the economy in which you're rallying. It's about how much you have in your pockets to afford a car of that magnitude, maintain a car of that magnitude, and compete with it through 2, 3, or 4 years. Talking about the participation in the World Rally Championship, and like I said earlier, it's a very huge bill. Many of our drivers here don't have as big time sponsors as some of the drivers that come from Europe to participate in our rounds, in the African round. So there should be a call for sponsors to come on board and try and inject some money within some of these drivers. Even still a collective effort, maybe from the government itself. Let's say, for instance, we have a cluster of 6 drivers from Uganda going to participate in the World Rally Championship, and like they do for athletics or even football, the government here being able to extend a particular amount of money to see them offset some of the costs that come with participating in a round of this nature. It's quite heavy. You very well know that it is a heavy bill that the drivers incur in trying to participate in the World Rally Championship. So at the end of it all, in the case for Uganda, there's quite a lot to do, while the transitions in seeing that the drivers, those that can afford, are putting in the shifts in getting the more sophisticated cars and the more reliable cars. Being able to show that might elsewhere is still a challenge, and it calls for a lot more support.
Speaking of the WRC Safari Rally, the experience for the fans, this year it was more relaxed in terms of COVID protocols. People could travel easier. We saw literally hundreds of Ugandans come across the border. What did you make of the experience for the Uganda fans?
Well, I'll start with myself. I've unfortunately not been able to watch the 2 rounds that have been hosted. I participated in the 2019 candidate event with Ronald Sebuguzi. But either way, it's one of those things you have to tick off your bucket list. Going across the border for the Kenya Safari Rally. There was a generation of Ugandans that had the thrill of it in the early days, in the late 1990s into the 2000s before it was called off. But now with its return, it's a whole different generation of rally fans. Those that were younger, that have heard stories of how the WRC was then, now want to experience it. And they have some money in their pocket. So even still, it's a road trip, a week-long road trip. We had an arrangement here where the fans actually first went to Mombasa before they came back to Naivasha to watch the rally. Those are 8 days of fun. Those are 8 days of sporting tourism. Those are 8 or so days of experiencing the difference between a car driven in Uganda and a car World Rally Championship car. That is a memory that stays very well in your mind. And I think for every year that the World Rally Championship will be organized, you will see droves and droves of Ugandan fans coming over. Ugandans love rally. They love motorsport. They will be there to support anybody, regardless. And I think for them, that is what makes a big difference and explains the great numbers of fans, Ugandan fans that you see in the stages. In Kasarani, there was this one very big corner of Ugandan fans flying the Ugandan flag. And it was very amazing. For them, it didn't really matter. Some preferred the Hyundais, others preferred the Toyotas. And, the experience for them is one that they will forever live with.
All right. And finally, there's been this hashtag on social media, Bring Back Dusty. Can you just explain what that is for those that don't know?
Well, Dusty Yusuf Buchenya is a young driver who a couple of years ago was taking part in a rally in the western part of the country. His Mitsubishi Evo 9 unfortunately went out in flames. One of those pictures that you look at and feel sorry for the driver, for the family, for the hopes of what a young driver could potentially have been capable to do in local rallying. So he's been out for some years. Then over the past weeks, there's been the campaign to bring him back, fundraise money so he can acquire a Ford Proto that he can compete with in the local rally championships and possibly international events. So last Sunday, thousands of fans went down to the Victoria Racetrack in Garuga. About 40 competitors, drivers were there, took part in a short distance event, a sprint. There were also riders that took part in what was called a training event ahead of the African Motocross Championship. And yes, I believe the organizers of that event should be pleased with the turn-up. Hopefully, they were able to get a substantial amount of money that can support his capacity to purchase the car that he desires. So if and when he's able to get that car down to Kampala, we and many others look forward to seeing Dusty back onto the racetracks and competing. We have now a younger generation of drivers that are challenging for the title, for the championship, and for the different categories that are there. And I think Dusty coming in and throwing in a bit of the fire into the competition will make a very big difference. So yeah, it was very great support from the Uganda Motorsport fraternity to see that they want to see a young driver of his nature coming back. He's very fast, and he could spring a surprise here and there if at all he gets that car back onto the tracks.
Incredible. I wish we had this kind of charity back home in Kenya. Thank you so much. Such an interesting story. Leon, we really, really appreciate you speaking to us on Motorsport 411.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Sean. And I'm really grateful for the kind of work that you do. We follow and let's keep it motorsport. But importantly, safety everywhere for as long as you're watching motorsport anywhere.
That's motorsport journalist and former navigator Leon Ssenyange. We'll be back.
All the 4 and 2-wheeled action. Motorsport 411.
So our thanks once again to FIA Youngstars team member Hamza Anwar and motorsport journalist and former navigator Leon Ssenyange. Once again, a very special thank you to Big City Studios. I'm Sean Cardovillis. See you next week.